Hello, here's part 4. Today I will be answering questions that I've been getting in the comments and sharing some other things that I've learned from attending an HBCU. So I'm asked this question a lot. How did my parents feel about me going to an HBCU? So they felt the same way that I did. They were excited that I was going to Florida because the state where we're from is like winter 8 months out of the year. And they didn't understand what an HBCU was either. They knew that I was going to be a minority on campus. And they just had the same mindset that I did, like people are people. And they met my coach and they figured that I would be in good hands. Did I date black men? Yes. How did my parents feel about me dating black men? Well, they were fine with this too because people are people. They didn't care who I dated as long as they treated me well. And they love my husband who is black and his kids, my stepkids and grandkids who are black. And also my dad's wife is mixed. She's from Brazil. And dating black men helped me see racism even more. I remember a time I was in a car with my boyfriend at the time, and he got pulled over by the cops, and he was doing nothing wrong, and they made us get out of the car, and they separated us, and then they asked me what his name was, so I told them, and I'm not sure why. Maybe they thought I was a prostitute, but anyway, it was stuff like that never happened to me when I was with white people. So during my time at FAMU, I learned that driving while black was a thing. A lot of times when we would go places like long distance, I would drive. One time I got pulled over for speeding and the cop gave me a warning. And all 3 of my passengers were like, if that were us, you know the rest. Okay, next question. Do I share my experience with and or educate my family and friends and white people in general? Yes. It is easy for me to talk to most of the people that I know about race. One of my friends recently told me that she admires how brave I was to go to FAMU and the way that I'm not afraid to communicate with people that don't look like me. And I think a lot of white people are afraid of saying something wrong. And but that's the way we learn and get better. The reason I make this content is because I hope that people will learn from it if they're even seeing it. But I've made plenty of mistakes, and that's how I learned. I think the white people who are afraid of saying something wrong live in areas where there are not a lot of black people, and it is still pretty segregated in Wisconsin and other places up north, and in the south too, actually, but seems like more so in the north. Anyway, not everyone's on social media, but I just talk to everyone in a friendly way like I already know them, and that usually works no matter what color their skin is or what group they're from. I mean, not too personal, but you know what I mean, just friendly. After George Floyd was murdered and the whole world was protesting, a few of my white friends and I read How to Be an Anti-Racist. I started noticing which of my white friends wanted to be better and learn more. And so we read How to Be an Anti-Racist by Dr. Kendi. And we read a chapter each week, and then we would get on Zoom, because this was during Corona. We would get on Zoom to discuss what we learned and share what we still didn't understand and just talk about stuff. And now that I think about it, I would love to do something like this on a larger scale with people that I don't even know. And if I can be totally honest, I have learned more about anti-racism in the past few years than I had in my whole life up until then. Social media has helped me connect with Black and Indigenous historians and teachers, especially on TikTok. I follow people from all over the country and all over the world to learn about their experiences and struggles, as well as the beauty of their cultures. So I learn from them, and I do research online, and I buy books that they recommend, and I share what I learned on social media. I've been most active on TikTok, but this past year I've been sharing more things on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Another thing that I learned at FAMU is that Black people are not a monolith, or people of any category. The definition of a monolith is of one stone. That's the literal definition. So when somebody says that Black people are not a monolith, it means that they're not all the same, and they don't all have the same exact experiences, beliefs, personalities. So for example, my softball team at FAMU, there were 3 people from Detroit, a few from Florida, 1 from Missouri, some from Virginia, and other random places. So I noticed differences in my teammates that came from different places. Like sometimes it was the way they talked or certain expressions, but also within each group, each person was totally different, like different personalities, different food preferences, like everything, etc. So just like not all white people are the same, not all Black people are the same, not all Indigenous people are the same, or immigrants, or whatever category a person is in, each person is different. There may be similarities in culture or upbringing or whatever, but each of us has a mind of our own. And I know this should be obvious, but I think that humans tend to put other people in categories sometimes and forget that we're all unique. And one final thought. I've been living with Black people for more than half of my life, and I've learned a lot over the years, but I am still learning. I still make mistakes. I know how it feels to be a minority on a campus, but I will never know what it feels like to be Black in this world. And this is why I continue to listen to Black, Indigenous, people of color, immigrants, people of the LGBTQIA plus community, and any other category that I'm not in. I will keep listening, and I will keep learning, and I will keep growing and sharing what I learned for the rest of my life, as long as I'm able to. Thanks for watching, and if you have any other comments or questions or anything, please leave them in the comments. Please be respectful, because I do have students looking at my page, so I do have to delete comments if they're, Anyway, I love you all.